Welcome back to Wisdom for Modern Living. In a world that moves faster every day, where silence feels rare and stillness almost forgotten, the words of Lao Tzu echo like a calm wind across centuries. He lived in ancient China more than 2,000 years ago, but his teachings, written in the Tao Te Ching, feel as if they were written for this very moment in time. For the confusion of modern life, for our exhaustion from striving, for our endless search for meaning and peace. Lao Tzu was not a king or a warrior. He was a quiet observer of nature, the way the river flows, the way the grass bends in the wind, the way the seasons change without effort. And from this quiet observation, he discovered what he called the Tao, the way. Not a religion, not a rule, but a truth, that everything in life has a natural order, a natural rhythm, and that peace comes not from changing the world, but from aligning with that rhythm. He said, "The way to do is to be." These 6 words hold a secret that the modern world has forgotten. We have become so obsessed with doing, achieving, producing, improving, that we no longer know how to simply be. And yet, the more we chase, the more restless we become. The world tells us, work harder, move faster, stay ahead. But the Tao whispers, slow down, breathe, return to yourself. For the more you hurry, the farther you drift from the truth of life. Lao Tzu looked at the world and saw how people suffered not because life was cruel, but because they were out of harmony with it. He said, "Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Do not resist them. That only creates sorrow." But modern man resists everything. We resist aging, we resist failure, we resist silence, we resist uncertainty, and every act of resistance builds tension in the heart until we feel like we are constantly at war with life itself. But Lao Tzu reminds us that peace is not found through control, it is found through surrender. Not surrender as defeat, but as understanding. When we stop fighting what is, we discover that life has been trying to carry us all along. He said the world is sacred, it cannot be improved. If you tamper with it, you'll ruin it. If you hold it, you'll lose it. We live today as if the world is a problem to fix, our work, our relationships, our minds. We plan, we manipulate, we push things to move faster. But in doing so, we lose touch with the gentle perfection of the present moment. Have you ever noticed how nature never rushes, yet everything gets done? The sun does not hurry to rise. The flower does not force itself to bloom. The rain does not argue with the clouds, and yet everything unfolds in perfect time. That is the essence of the Tao. Effortless harmony. Lao Tzu called this Wu Wei, effortless action, or the art of doing without forcing. It is not about inaction, it is about trusting the natural flow of life. Just as water flows around a rock instead of breaking against it, the wise person moves with life instead of against it. He said, "Nothing in the world is softer than water, yet nothing can resist it." Think of that for a moment. Water, the gentlest of all things, can carve through stone, shape valleys, and nourish every form of life. It does not fight, yet it always wins. That is Lao Tzu's great secret. Softness is strength. In our modern world, we have confused strength with control, noise, and power. We believe the loudest voice is the most confident, the firmest plan the most successful, the hardest armor the most secure. But Lao Tzu saw the opposite. He taught that true power lies in yielding, in being flexible, in flowing with life rather than fighting it. He said, "The soft overcomes the hard and the weak overcomes the strong." This is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the same lesson we see in nature. The oak tree, rigid and proud, may snap in a storm, but the bamboo, bending and swaying, survives every wind. Lao Tzu would say, "Be the bamboo, not the oak. When life becomes heavy, bend. When plans fail, flow. When others attack you, stay soft, not to submit, but to remain whole." He knew that the world does not belong to those who force it, but to those who harmonize with it. And this harmony begins in the mind. Our thoughts are like turbulent water, always stirred by fear, desire, comparison, and regret. Lao Tzu said, "If you want to be whole, let yourself be partial. If you want to be straight, let yourself be crooked. If you want to be full, let yourself be empty." In this paradox lies the deepest truth, that the harder we try to fill ourselves, the emptier we feel. But when we allow emptiness, we become open to life's wisdom. Modern life teaches us to accumulate possessions, achievements, opinions, but Lao Tzu invites us to empty the cup, to stop overflowing with noise and return to simplicity. He said, "In pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. In pursuit of the Tao, every day something is dropped. Every day we pick up more responsibilities, expectations, distractions, and then wonder why we feel burdened. Lao Tzu's path is the opposite. Let go, simplify, and return to stillness. The Tao is not a doctrine you must follow. It is the way of nature itself. It is the flow of the river, the unfolding of dawn, the quiet of dusk. It moves through everything, including you. When you forget this, life feels chaotic. When you remember, even chaos becomes peaceful. In the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu wrote, "Can you remain unmoving until the right action arises by itself?" In those words lies a challenge for modern times, to act from stillness, not from fear. To trust that the right response will arise naturally when the mind is calm, just as a reflection appears clearly when the water is still. When we stop stirring the mud of our thoughts, clarity returns. When we stop chasing outcomes, harmony finds us. That is the beginning of wisdom in a chaotic world. Not to fix the storm, but to find peace within it. And once you find that peace, the outer world begins to follow. In the quiet heart of Lao Tzu's teachings lies a paradox. The more we let go of control, the more harmony enters our lives. The modern world, however, has forgotten this. We have been taught to hold tightly, to strive endlessly, to fight for every inch of progress. Yet in doing so, we often lose the very peace we were seeking. Lao Tzu's wisdom begins where struggle ends. He invites us to look again at the nature of life, to see that everything moves according to its own rhythm, its own time. The sun rises and sets, the tide comes and goes, birth and death follow one another like the in-breath and out-breath of the universe. And within this grand design, there is no hurry, no resistance, no judgment, only flow. He said, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." Those words hold the essence of his philosophy. Nature is not in a race, and yet nothing is left undone. Flowers bloom when the season is right, rivers carve valleys over centuries, mountains rise and erode through the ages. The universe takes its time, and in its timing, there is perfection. But humans, restless and fearful, have lost patience with the rhythm of life. We demand instant results, instant success, instant happiness. We push, we force, we plan, we control. And the more we push, the more we suffer. The wisdom of the Tao is not to abandon effort, but to abandon strain. It is the art of effortless alignment, of acting in harmony with the current instead of against it. This is what Lao Tzu meant by Wu Wei. Wu Wei does not mean doing nothing. It means nothing unnatural. It means acting with such awareness and trust that your actions become like breathing, natural, effortless, free of resistance. Imagine a skilled dancer moving with music. They are not thinking of each step. They are simply one with the rhythm. Or a craftsman whose hands move smoothly, guided not by thought, but by harmony with the task. That is Wu Wei, the intelligence of flow. We too can live this way. But to do so, we must first stop trying to control life and begin to listen to it. Lao Tzu said, "The Tao never does anything, yet through it all things are done." This is the mystery of the way. When you act from stillness, things unfold without effort. When you trust life, you become part of its intelligence. Look at water again. It never forces itself. It simply flows. It goes around obstacles, not through them. Yet in time, it shapes mountains and nourishes forests. It has no ambition, yet it achieves everything. The modern mind, however, is not like water. It is like fire, burning with desire and exhaustion. We constantly want more success, more pleasure, more certainty, more control, and each desire pulls us further from peace. Lao Tzu warned, "Chase after money and security, and your heart will never unclench. Care about people's approval, and you will be their prisoner." We spend our days building walls of ambition and fear, trying to protect our fragile identities, but those walls become our prisons. The Tao calls us to dissolve them, to return to simplicity. He said, "I have just 3 things to teach: simplicity, patience, compassion. These 3 are your greatest treasures." Simplicity means letting go of excess, not only possessions, but also opinions, worries, and desires. It is the ability to enjoy what is already here. Patience means trusting the timing of life, knowing that everything ripens in its own season. A seed cannot be forced to bloom. And compassion means seeing yourself in all beings, recognizing that everyone you meet is struggling to find their way home, just as you are. When these 3 treasures guide your life, chaos loses its grip. The storms of the world may still rage, but you no longer resist them. You move through life with quiet strength. But to live this way requires faith. Not religious faith, but trust in the way itself. Trust that there is a deeper order beneath apparent disorder. Trust that even the hardest seasons serve a hidden purpose. In ancient China, Lao Tzu compared the Tao to an empty vessel. Use it, and it is never filled. He meant that the way is inexhaustible. The more you align with it, the more peace and wisdom it offers. This faith is difficult for modern minds. We are trained to analyze, to plan, to measure. We demand evidence, proof, control. But the Tao is beyond logic. It can only be experienced. You cannot grasp the way with the mind. You can only live it. Like the taste of water, you cannot describe it. You must drink it. The more you let go of trying to figure life out, the more clearly you see that life is not meant to be figured out. It is meant to be lived moment by moment, breath by breath. When you sit in silence, when you listen to the rustling of leaves, the hum of the world, that is the Tao speaking. It is always here, guiding you. You don't have to reach for it. You only have to stop running away from it. Modern chaos is nothing more than collective resistance to this truth. We fill our days with noise, our minds with goals, our hearts with fear of missing out. We mistake motion for meaning. But Lao Tzu's wisdom whispers, be still. When you are still, clarity arises on its own. You begin to see that life has never been against you. The currents that seem to pull you under were actually trying to carry you home. It is not the storm that causes suffering. It is our refusal to dance with the rain. Lao Tzu said, when you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. This is the heart of his teaching, contentment. Not the dull acceptance of mediocrity, but the deep joy of seeing that every breath, every moment, every ordinary thing is already complete. You no longer chase what you think is missing. You begin to cherish what is here. You stop searching for peace and start recognizing that peace was never lost. When you live in this way, even the chaos of the modern world becomes sacred. Every sound, every challenge, every interaction becomes part of the flow. You act when action is needed, rest when rest is right, and speak only when words are true. You discover that doing less accomplishes more, that gentleness creates power, that emptiness holds fullness. This is the wisdom the modern world desperately needs, not another system of control, but a way of remembering how to flow. Lao Tzu never tried to change the world. He simply understood it, and by understanding it, he lived in harmony with it. We too can live like that. We can walk through noise without losing silence. We can move through chaos without losing peace. We can live among ambition and still be humble. The Tao is not far away. It is not hidden in mountains or temples. It is right here, in the way you breathe, the way you smile, the way you let things be. When we begin to live in harmony with the Tao, something profound happens. Life stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like a dance. The struggle to control, to predict, to win, it all fades, replaced by a quiet trust that everything has its place, even the moments that once seemed unbearable. Lao Tzu taught that the path to peace is not about escaping the world, but about returning to the natural rhythm that the world itself follows. He said, man follows the earth follows the heavens follow the Tao, and the Tao follows what is natural. In that one teaching lies the key to freedom. Follow what is natural. It means to stop forcing, to stop pretending, to stop fighting against the way things are. It means to live with humility as part of the greater whole, not as its master. The modern mind is obsessed with improvement. Improve the body, improve the career, improve the self. Yet Lao Tzu reminds us that the truest improvement is often unlearning, returning to the simplicity we had before ambition clouded our vision. He said, in the pursuit of knowledge, every day something is added. In the pursuit of the Tao, every day something is dropped. Every day we add layers to ourselves, identities, opinions, expectations. We say, I must become this, I must achieve that. But every layer takes us further from our original nature, the quiet awareness beneath all thought, the still heart that simply is. To follow the Tao is to peel those layers away one by one until only truth remains. And that truth is simple. You are part of life, not separate from it. The tree does not think, I must grow. The bird does not plan, I must fly. They simply express the essence of what they are. You too are meant to flow in your own natural way, not the way society tells you, not the way fear dictates, but the way your inner stillness guides. Lao Tzu called this returning to the source. He said, returning is the movement of the Tao, yielding is the way of the Tao. Everything that exists eventually returns to its origin, the river to the sea, the leaf to the soil, the breath to the air. To live in harmony with this truth is to stop clinging and begin trusting. The source is not far away. It is not hidden in the stars or the scriptures. It is within you. The silent awareness that watches, the calm beneath your thoughts, the space that remains untouched no matter what happens. When you touch that stillness, the noise of the modern world loses its power. You can walk through chaos and remain unshaken because you no longer depend on circumstances for peace. He said, "He who knows that enough is enough will always have enough." In a world that constantly tells us we are missing something, this is radical wisdom. Contentment is not the end of growth, it is the beginning of true freedom. Imagine living without the pressure to prove anything, without needing more success, more possessions, more validation. Imagine waking up and feeling that this moment, right here, is enough. That is the peace of the Tao. Lao Tzu used many images to describe this peace: the uncarved block, the valley, the infant. He said the uncarved block symbolizes natural simplicity, unshaped yet complete. The valley represents humility. It receives all rivers because it stays low. And the infant represents purity, open, soft, trusting. He was not telling us to become weak or naive. He was showing us the way back to wholeness, to live softly in a world that praises hardness, to remain open in a world that closes hearts. He said the softest thing in the universe overcomes the hardest thing in the universe. That is the paradox of Lao Tzu's wisdom. Gentleness conquers what force cannot. When you practice this softness, life begins to shift. You stop rushing. You stop arguing with what is. You begin to listen, truly listen to the quiet rhythm beneath everything. Even in pain, you feel a strange peace. Even in uncertainty, you feel a quiet confidence. Because you know now, life is not chaos. It only appears chaotic when we view it through the lens of control. When we surrender to its flow, we see that every event, every encounter, every ending, every beginning, all of it is part of the great harmony. That harmony does not depend on you. It includes you. You do not have to hold the universe together. It has always been holding you. Lao Tzu said, "When I let go of who I am, I become what I might be." When you stop clinging to your image, your plans, your definitions, you discover vastness. The same way a river merges with the ocean when it stops fearing its end, you merge with life when you stop fearing change. This is what he called the way of return, returning from complication to simplicity, from fear to trust, from striving to stillness. And when you live this way, everything you do becomes sacred. Even washing your hands, walking down the street, or sharing a quiet meal, all become part of the great dance of the Tao. You realize there is no separation between spiritual life and ordinary life. Folding clothes can be meditation. Driving can be prayer. Breathing can be enlightenment. The Tao is everywhere, in everything. You can never leave it because you are it. Lao Tzu said, "The great Tao flows everywhere. All things depend on it, yet it does not claim ownership." When you understand this, you live differently. You stop trying to dominate the world, and instead, you serve it. You stop trying to stand above others, and instead, you walk beside them. You stop demanding perfection, and instead, you begin to love what is. This love, this quiet compassion, is the flower of Taoist wisdom. It is not sentimental. It is not weak. It is the deep recognition that everything and everyone is moving through the same mystery, the same flow. When you live with that compassion, peace becomes natural. You forgive easily because you see how lost others are in their own storms. You love freely because you no longer fear loss. You act kindly because kindness feels like truth. This is Lao Tzu's timeless gift to our modern chaos, the reminder that peace was never lost. It was only hidden beneath our constant effort. The more we try to control life, the more chaotic it becomes. The more we trust it, the more peaceful it feels. He said, if you realize that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. That is the secret. The moment you stop grasping, you are free. The moment you stop running, you arrive. The moment you stop fighting, you begin to flow. And in that flow, you rediscover the beauty of existence, a beauty so quiet, so subtle, that it can only be seen by a heart that has learned to be still. So today, as you listen to these words, take a slow breath. Feel the rhythm of your heartbeat, the air moving in and out of your lungs. That is the Tao moving through you. The same Tao that moves the stars, the same Tao that breathes through the trees, the same Tao that has guided life since before time began. You don't need to reach it. You are already part of it. Just let go. Just be. That is enough. If these reflections touched something quiet within you, take a moment to share that peace with the world. Like this video, share it with someone who may need calm in their life, and subscribe to Wisdom for Modern Living. Together, we can bring the ancient light of Lao Tzu into our modern age. One breath, one word, one gentle moment at a time. Thank you for listening. May your mind be clear, your heart soft, and your life flow like water.